So I just got done watching Love Lies Bleeding, which was brought to you by one of my favorite studios out there right now in A24. This was directed by Rose Glass, who brought you Saint Maud, which, full disclosure, I will admit, have not seen Saint Maud yet. I realize that there's a lot of people who are ready to just hound me in the comments section and saying, get on watching Saint Maud. There's just not enough time in my life, guys. I swear. But I will take my colleagues' words for it that it's probably an excellent film. So this one I was very eagerly anticipating, just judging from the trailer and the crime drama aspect of it. And let's just say that I walked out of this theater pretty satisfied, not disappointed in the slightest. Our main character is Lou, played here by Kristen Stewart. She's a reclusive gym manager, and her complicated life is altered even more drastically when Jackie, played by Katy O'Brien, walks into the gym one night. Jackie's an ambitious bodybuilder who's on her way to Las Vegas to pursue her dream. Judging from the trailer and the advertising, these two fall hard for one another. And oh, the tangled web that love leaves behind. It soon leads to violence as they get pulled deep into the web of Lou's criminal family. And I think without spoiling anything, that's as deep as I'll go. Actually, no, I'll tell you that the head of Lou's criminal family is played by Ed Harris, her father. Brilliantly, might I add. Ed Harris is a freaking legend. You should come to expect that from that man. And man, just right off the top, I feel like Rose Glass as a director really doesn't get enough respect, and I feel like the more people that go and see Love Lies Bleeding can see how great of a director she is. I don't know if she has the magic touch in the director's chair or what, but how she's able to give every single character that she has in this movie a very detailed and easy to understand arc, but it's not so detailed to the point where the movie is overly long either. The movie only runs about an hour and 45 minutes. This movie runs at such a hectic, frantic pace. And it certainly felt like one of those old school David Fincher movies in a lot of different ways. The pacing of this movie honestly left me on the edge of my seat, and it almost left me in a state of panic, just like these characters are in. Because it's clear, even in these performances, the ramifications of what could possibly happen if a lot of these crimes are put out into the open. You know what I mean? Like, these characters definitely understand what's on the line. Rose Glass, as a director, definitely understands what's on the line, and she does a marvelous job directing this movie. It certainly feels like there is just so many fireworks to be had. Like, this is a rush of adrenaline that I needed. I mentioned that it retains a lot of what made David Fincher's early films so great, like Seven, Zodiac, even those types of crime thrillers. Because those movies also felt very gritty, very raw, super disgusting looking. And DP Ben Fordsman certainly understands that. This cinematography is absolutely outstanding. I can't wait to see what other projects Ben Fordsman is attached to, because I feel like, again, as a DP, he is a very trustworthy hand. So extremely intense all the way through, great cinematography, phenomenal musical score and soundtrack choices. This movie is set in the late 1980s, and you certainly feel like you are there in the moment with these characters. Just absolutely brilliant production choices all the way around. And brilliant performance choices from every single actor that's involved here. I don't think there's a single dud in this cast. You can definitely sense that this is a performance that Kristen Stewart was extremely passionate about. And this material is something that she is extremely passionate about on a personal level. And I am so proud of her, a lot like Robert Pattinson for dropping the Twilight stigmatism, if you will. I'm so glad that Hollywood doesn't look at those two like Edward and Bella anymore. And heck, to Kristen Stewart's credit, this is a follow-up performance to her getting nominated for an Oscar even. I know it's only March and last year's Oscars just occurred last weekend, but don't be surprised if Kristen Stewart is in the conversation for Best Leading Actress. She was outstanding in this. All due respect to her, though, I feel like the big show stealer was Katy O'Brien. I'm so glad that she gets to spread her wings and go into a more creative outlet that's not shackled by Disney. Because I definitely recognize her from projects like The Mandalorian and Quantumania. But she has so much emotional range that she gets to explore that she didn't necessarily get to in those other projects. And all the better for her development as an actress. She was awesome. Such a freaking badass. Now, I did read in some interviews that they would literally wrote this character to be a bodybuilder so that they could showcase her as a strong female character in the literal sense, while also being figuratively speaking a strong female character. And if you feel like her being an aspiring bodybuilder is too on the nose of an occupation for a strong female character, I get it. That's not necessarily what bugs me about Love Lies Bleeding, which I'll certainly get to, because I do have one strong nitpick behind Love Lies Bleeding, but aside from that, I mean, technically speaking, Love Lies Bleeding is a fantastic feature film. All the performances, especially from our two leads, and you could certainly tell their chemistry and their romance felt so freaking genuine. And I was rooting so hard for these two to make it out of this situation okay. They could look back and kind of laugh on it after being traumatized for a bit and be like, huh, yeah, remember when we did that, sweetie? Yeah, me too. That wasn't fun. But yeah, you have a very talented cast here. Baryshnikov. I mean, her character was kind of hit or miss for me. I kind of didn't understand where they were going with her character and her whole purpose of being there. You don't necessarily get that until about halfway through without giving too much away. But she's very solid in the movie. Jena Malone, as usual, very good. Ed Harris, man, like I said, a legendary figure, and he is as over the top as you can think of as our villain. Speaking of over the top, Dave Franco, nailed it. Freaking nailed it, man. I wanted to punch him in his porn mustache so freaking bad. But that's how you know an actor is doing his job right. You know, when you actually hate this person and you know that they're actually a pretty chill guy in real life, like that's how you know how gifted they are, you know? And I feel like Dave Franco is so underrated, and this performance proves that. Now let me get to my one drawback about Love Lies Bleeding. Even though I was so wrapped up in this story from start to finish, I didn't want this movie to end. Which brings me to said ending. The resolution and how this movie concludes is really going to divide a lot of people that watch it. And I'm honestly very concerned that people will watch this movie and only remember how it ends, and then they'll wind up hating Love Lies Bleeding. And you know what? Who am I to stop you from hating something? This is movie talk after all. We're all entitled to our own opinions, right? But here's the thing. This is also A24, who is known for putting out some pretty polarizingly weird shit. First of all, I gotta give them props for being creative and not just sticking to the status quo. But here's my problem with this. When you have a story that preceding the ending for about an hour and a half or so has felt as grounded as it had been, and then you have some super surreal, fantastical imagery to wrap things up. And I honestly don't really know if it fit. Like, I'm not turned off by the movie by any stretch of the imagination. The ending of the movie is questionable right now, but I'm sitting here wanting to experience Love Lies Bleeding again, and I can't wait to. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of this movie. In the end, it's another very strong effort by a very ambitious studio in A24 and a game director in Rose Glass. Can't wait to see where her career goes. Can't wait to see where Kristen Stewart and Katy O'Brien's careers go after this. Love Lies Bleeding is a roller coaster of adrenaline that will leave you wanting more, all in the best way possible, because once the ride is over, you're like, aw, man, that was fun. I want to ride that again. I'm going to give Love Lies Bleeding an A-. Like, I'm so happy with how this movie turned out, guys. But I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Let me know what you thought of Love Lies Bleeding down in the comments. What is your favorite A24 movie that you've seen up to this point? Film is all subjective. I love discussing movies with each and every single one of you who stop by the channel. If this is your first visit today, welcome. Do consider subscribing and tap on that thumbs up as well. Because trust me, this is a fantastic community of geeks, film lovers, and entertainment lovers alike. And if you want to join a great community like this one, y'all are invited. Stay tuned for more videos very soon. March is a jam-packed month. I can't wait to watch Ghostbusters Frozen Empire next week. And we're kicking spring into another gear, guys. April looks like a huge month for movies as well. And I can't wait to talk about it all with you guys. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.